In this video, I want to test on fabric different paints, and namely fabric paint, two kinds of them, and versus acrylic paint, regular acrylic paint that we can buy anywhere. So basically, the biggest difference between acrylic paint, regular acrylic paint, and fabric paint that can also be acrylic-based, water-based paint is that fabric paint made specifically to stick well and stay washable after being heat set on fabric. Regular acrylics, they can work on other surfaces as well and fabric, but sometimes not all acrylics will stick well and stay on fabric permanently, for example, after you wash them or you wear the piece, because if we fold any fabric like t-shirt, denim, or anything, the unprepared paint can also crack and even peel off and chip off the fabric. So I'll be testing two fabric paints and acrylic paint. I will be testing PBO acrylic paint, but it can be Liquitex, it can be Winsor & Newton, it can be Amsterdam, it can be anything else. Just as example of acrylic paint, I will be using PBO, and I will be using quite affordable Montmartre fabric paint set, and also Decolor fabric paint set. This is a 20 shades set, but they come individually and they also come in different sets. I also already know Decolor, and I know that it works very well on denim, so I'm testing it on just a white t-shirt, and I made 3 little sketches. It's my first time working with with acrylic and Montmartre fabric paint on cotton, so let's see how it goes. First off, what I am urging you to do is you need to wash your t-shirt and air dry it. I didn't use the dryer because I didn't want it to shrink or anything. Then you need to secure something in between the layers. I have like a little wooden board underneath, and also you don't have to be to make it super tight, because it will allow paint to crack if we will tighten it up too much now, and then it will loosen up, and then we also wash it. So do not stretch it too much, but just fix it, because the fabric will move slightly when you work on it with a pencil or charcoal to make a sketch, or even like a sewing chalk, and of course it may cause some issues. So fix it. I fixed it on a little wooden board. I already made a sketch. I made it with a regular pencil. We will see how it goes. I think the regular pencil, because it's charcoal pencil, my logic is that charcoal will wash off once I wash again this piece. So that's my logic. And also because I'm not a fabric painter, I'm just testing acrylics, and I hope it will work. I have a little idea that I found on Pinterest for this part of paintings. It's like a day and night minimalistic painting, but with different colors, so we can see how the colors work for different fabric paint. And also this one is kind of a collection of different ideas about the kind of universe, galaxy, cosmos thing, with a little cute dinosaur that I added just for fun. So let's get to it. First, I'll be testing the Montmartre fabric paint. I have a set of 20 colors. Some colors are absolutely beautiful. There's like different blues and the pink and the purples. I love them. But also there is a golden and silver, and also 2 fluorescent colors, neon colors. I don't think I will use neon colors in this one, but maybe I'll use them on stars. So I'm planning to use the best colors I think suits best for the pictures. So maybe I will mix what paints I'm using for each sketch. So yeah, I'm quite flexible on this one, and I hope it will work great. So for the night one, I need like a dark blue, but I have a purple here, so I will use this one. Or maybe I'll use a dark blue from acrylic. Yes, why not? I will use an ultramarine blue for dark part. I will use the cerulean blue, also cyan, I'm sorry, for lighter part, and cerulean blue for even lighter part. And here it will be green, the mint green that I will use from the color paints. Yeah, let's start. The beauty of using a pencil sketch is also that you can erase it at any time and adjust it, because I need better pronounced moon here, so I can work with acrylics. Okay, let's do it. Acrylic paint works best on canvas, and on fabric it just doesn't have the best coverage, and it's kind of tricky to make a nice line with it. Doable, of course, but maybe not the best experience you are hoping for, because fabric has a very rough texture, and it also means that it's very porous, and it can soak the paint easily, which can be a bad thing because it's also what can increase cracking risks. As you can see, if you will just work with a brush, it won't cover very well, so you really need to go over and over and over an area. So the process will be very time consuming compared to using acrylics on canvas, for example. And you will also probably use more paint. I don't think I want to use water because I think it can affect drying of paint on fabric. You can probably mix it with gag a little bit for better application and for smoother application. Let's try that. It does increase the easiness of application, but not by much. And it also can a little bit lighten the color, so it's not exactly what I'm looking for right now. Well, that part of acrylic painting on fabric took me more than 15 minutes. And actually this blue by PBR, the dark ultramarine, I don't know why, but it smells so strong. I've never had acrylic paint smelling so strong, almost like kind of solvent, something solvent, very strong odor. I don't know why it happened. I'm curious about the other blue I have, if it will be also very, very smelly. We'll find out now. No, it smells like regular acrylic, which is very weird why this ultramarine smells so bad. Well, yeah, that's just something I noticed. So I'm moving to another color, which will be the next step. This one has much better coverage, so maybe the ultramarine blue has some issues to it. I'm not sure what could have happened. But that blue definitely, as you can, I think, see, covers much better the fabric. Flows much easier. I did mix it already with gag just a little bit. So it also helps, I assume. But just in general, compared to the blue and how much paint I used there, here I will not use as much paint and I don't have so much trouble covering the area. And I can even do the brush strokes unlike here. So I think it will depend on colors and it will depend on brand, unfortunately. So yeah, it's only by testing that we can find the best one. And as you can see, I'm just talking to you and I'm already almost done with this next color. Granted, it is a much smaller area, but still the application was so much easier. It also may be that there is something on the fabric, but I washed it, so I doubt that. So yeah, really loved how this color was in application and with brush, very easy. Yeah, great. And now I will use a fabric paint, so we will see if there is a big difference in application between using just regular acrylic and a special, even if not very expensive, but fabric paint. And this will be for this bigger area. You can actually use a sponge instead of a brush, but I'm just using a brush because I'm already used to work with brushes. The fabric paint is much more fluid than regular acrylics, and it has much better application with a thinner layer. Even now I can already see it. And you can easily work with decent brush strokes, and you don't need to thin the paint anyhow because it's very nice and smooth application. And you can work much faster with a special fabric paint. You cannot see the visual except for consistency, but also if you will be using fluid acrylic paint, you will not see much visual difference in how the paint looks in the tube or in the jar between fabric paint and acrylic paint. But definitely fabric paint is more fluid and applies easier and covers the fabric. This is way more important than anything else. Covers the fabric. As you can see, also better. Fabric paint also doesn't have any smell to it. I think, I'm not sure, but it looks like this is also kind of water-based, acrylic-based fabric paint, which can be. I can also see how fabric paint soaks immediately into the fabric, and you don't need much of it to have a vibrant, intense color, versus with acrylic it can lack the better coverage, or it can also sit a little bit on top if you had a slightly thicker layer. Great, I really love how the fabric paint works. Now I will try another fabric paint, the mint one from the Color, which is also a professional fabric paint. So we will see how that one works. You need to stir well the paint or shake it nicely. The color is very beautiful, so I'm very excited to apply it. And as I said, I already used the Color one, so just a different set, different colors. And it was for denim, and it worked really nice. The paint itself is permanent. You need just to heat set it, and that's it. I was wearing, it was my shorts, denim shorts, and yeah, it worked very nicely and stayed without losing colors anyhow. So I really like it. So I'm testing it for this t-shirt as well to see how it works on cotton. I think between fabric paints and acrylic paint, if it is a good consistency of a color, there is very little difference in how easy the color is in application. Definitely fabric paint applies much easier, but as we saw with the cerulean, or the primary cyan, I'm sorry, it still applies very nicely. But I believe that adhesion is better with fabric paint, because I can immediately see how it just soaks and sit, and it feels like it dries immediately, but no, we will have to wait, of course, for drying. Mint color is very nice. Really love it. Yeah, both Montmartre and the Cola don't have any strong odor to them, which is nice. And the good part about fabric paint that you only need a thin layer, just regular layer that you just dip a brush and go on fabric, and it will cover nicely there already. Okay, this is done. This part is done. I only need to paint the moon. And I'm thinking, for the sake of experiment, to use the fluorescent yellow, just because we're experimenting now and I want to see how different colors work. Let's hope I'm not ruining anything. Okay, we are moving to the daylight color palette, and here I need very bright red, because yeah, that will be the sun. This will be not, it's not white color, but it's, I think I will need to mix, and I will probably mix acrylic paint. It's kind of very light beige color. I need pink. I have a coral here. I also need orange. I will use, again, fabric paint orange, and yellow, and I will also use yellow from Montmartre. So I'll start with, from the bottom, from the yellow part. with fabric paint, it almost feels like acrylic on canvas. The application, I mean. I think you can see even the difference in how acrylic and fabric paint start to dry on fabric. The fabric paint dries like smoother and more evenly than acrylic paint, but not a very big difference. Just because I know which one is fabric paint and which one is acrylic paint, I can make some observations. But if I would just look at it, I wouldn't be able to tell, I think. More experienced people probably would be able to tell who really works with painting fabric often. Back to what I was doing. Now I need orange. And I picked, because it's my first time customizing a t-shirt, I picked minimalistic designs that still look cute in my opinion, but are easy to do because it's not a realistic painting. I don't need to worry about shapes, shading, and mixing too much colors. I can just work with flat colors and very, very loose and rough shapes. And if I change anything in this painting, it will be okay. Of course, it's easier to paint along the grain of the fabric, but it's not always possible for us. Also, the more transparent the color, the more likely the darker pencil marks can be visible through it. So be careful with your sketch. Don't press too hard on anything that you're using for sketch. Alright, time to move to pink color. But I'm not using pink, I'm using coral to test the different paints. Very beautiful color. Looks darker on fabric than in the jar. It can also be something that you need to keep in mind, because some colors can do that. Even with paper or canvas, they can look darker on the surface, or they may dry to a darker shade. For the beige part, kind of beige, I will use acrylic paint, and I will use yellow ochre, and I will try to mix it with white and with some gag. Also, actually, as Golden says, because gag is a Golden artist color product, as Golden recommends, that gag can also be used for sizing the fabric so it doesn't soak that much of a paint when you paint acrylic on it. So yeah, I think mixing acrylic paint with gag for fabric painting is quite a good idea, but I'm not an expert, so we are experimenting here. First, I'm preparing a mix, because the yellow ochre by itself, it will be too bright. I need like just a very nice warm color, warm beige, but not too bright, not too bright. And I also will use gag. It will also a little bit lighten the color. It's better to mix with palette knife, of course, than with brush. But yeah, let's go. The application is much better with gag if you're using acrylic paint, so you may as well consider using gag. I think the coverage worked really well with this color, but I think it's quite thick, and I'm not sure how it will dry. We'll see. I think this part may crack during drying or peel off during washing or afterwards. So, well, we'll see. Only sun left, and then maybe I'll have to correct some mistakes. And I'm using a fabric paint. I think I need a smaller brush to work around with orange, with a little bit of beige. So it looks cleaner. Alright, it has been approximately 24 hours since we painted this part, the day and the night, and you probably can see, but what I will tell you, that the feel of acrylic paint on fabric and fabric paint on fabric, it's very different. Acrylics feel very stiff, very tight, and fabric paint actually feels very close to just unpainted fabric. So it has some texture to it, of course, because it's a cotton t-shirt, but it is very smooth and soft surface. And if I'm running my finger like this, I can with my eyes closed tell where the acrylic part is. It feels dry, it feels very rough, coarse, and very stiff, as I said, and where the soft fabric paint is. So that is the biggest difference so far, except for application, that I can see. And also we will see how it does after I wash it and after I heat set it. But I think the stiffness also comes with risk of cracking, because if it is a stiff and the fabric underneath the paint is not flexible, so however we fold it and however we will wear it, if we will it may crack in this little folds, while with fabric paint the fabric actually stays flexible and you can fold it, you can move it, you can wash it, you can do whatever. Also, I notice now that some colors have worse coverage than another. You can of course go over and correct mistakes. I'm not doing that now because this is like a big experiment, and we have the second part where it's like a little planets and dinosaur and a rocket and some stars, where I want to try, because we already saw like fabric paint and acrylic paint, I want to try something different. Those are very, very, very cheap fabric sticks. So I want to try them. They also work the same way. You need to heat set them, and then it's the item is washable. And I also want to try some markers. I actually have two different markers. Articore, they are oil based and quite permanent, and acrylic based Artistro markers. I have regular colors and I have metallic outline markers. I want to try them for stars because I think that will be cool, and maybe for the planets. We'll see about that. And I tried actually this regular acrylic paint pens Artistro. I have a review on my blog and on my YouTube channel as well on denim, and it worked pretty nicely. So this is already approximately 1 year, and this part is waterproof sort of with Mod Podge. You can see it's glossier and less flexible. This Artistro paint pens, they, same as fabric paint, they keep the flexibility, while when it's with Mod Podge you can already see it's not really flexible and it's much stiffer. This was also just a test for like art purposes. I have not washed this denim piece, but just an application and durability, as you can see, it works very, very nice. So I want to try those two types, sticks and pens, on this cosmic part, and also because it's smaller details, that would be easier for me. So let's get to it. This sticks, I have just a basic set, and there is not much you can do about that. You just kind of use them as a pastel or like a pencil stick. Easy to apply, and it's also better to do for lines and small items, so that's why I picked them for this area, but also because ultimately that way I can try more things and I can show you also more things that you can potentially use for customizing any fabric actually you have. So the sticks work pretty good, but I think the fabric needs to be tightened so it's moving less, because it's not the application is not as smooth as the brushwork, and the fabric moves a little bit. But other than that, I think markers and sticks are also easier to use because you don't need water, you don't need brushes, you don't need any extra supplies. Just draw. They feel slightly waxy. I'm not sure what is the exact composition of those, because it's a very cheap ones. It's Pentel, and they're not very good about exposing what is in the paint they sell, or if we're using sticks now in the sticks. So I don't know. I think the sticks, as much as they're easier, they're also a little bit harder to control on the edges, because the stick is very round and much thicker than a brush that we can just point and use the point to get along the lines. So this will be challenging, but you can also go around with a marker, which I will do later, and that will be much easier for you. And as it is a very abstract kind of planets. I'm using just random colors, and also I have a limited palette here, so I'm just working with what I have. And also, if the fabric you are working on has longer like hair, the color can get on this hair, and the hair can go all different directions, as you can see here, and it may be not perfect outcome, but anyway, I think we can fix this. And I think I still like the feel of the sticks. They can also blend some colors in between them. You can do lines with the side of the stick. That would be better. That is actually smart. That I should have done that with the blue. Oh well. I've not done that. The coverage is more challenging with the sticks because you need to go even along the grain kind of. Something like that. Let me see if I can correct this side. I'm still contemplating whether I should paint the whole thing black or not. For the sake of experiment, I think that would be good to see how the large painted area of dark color, especially black, will perform. And maybe I'll do that with fabric paint if I have black. That's a good question. Yes, I do. So that's something I'm thinking about. We'll see. Yeah, as I said, you can do that with markers, or I did it with the side of a black stick. Also works nice. Okay, that one kind of done. The other one, I want it to be red. Let's do the outline first with markers. Just it on paper to make sure it will work and it's not bleeding. Otherwise, that would be a very, very unpleasant surprise. I think markers have the most satisfying coverage on fabric so far for me. So the easiest tool for now for me, this Artist Straw paint markers. They're also acrylic based, but it's just a different type of a tool, right? It's a marker versus paint when you do with a brush. So I'll do the bottom part with a marker and the top part with article marker. So that one is Artist Straw and this one is article. So we're gonna see, but they have different tips. As you can see, it was easier to work with Artist Straw on cotton, but it's also good with article. They have like such a similar names. I don't know why, but that's funny. And I'm also curious because these markers are oil-based, as I said, and sometimes they feel more permanent. They work even on plastic versus Artist Straw that are acrylic-based, and they don't really work on plastic. And I just want to show you one example of a cool outline markers also from Artist Straw. That is something that works very interesting. I don't know if you saw something like this before. I just want to see if it will work on fabric. But it is an outline marker. So the outline is the color that you see on the pen, and the inside is the silver or golden color, which I think is such a cool idea to make such markers, because this can make some unique designs. And I decided to use it for this halos around planet. I think that is really cool, something unique. Okay, we are good to go with, I think, some golden. This one is a medium tip, so it's hard to do really small details with it. So the stars may be bigger than I sketched them, which is not a big deal. I want to use silver for the body of this rocket. Silver so far has the worst coverage. And now I have this cutest dinosaur that I'm making green color, the body. So now the biggest question that I had, should I make it all black or not? I think I can mix the fabric paint, the silver and the black, and make it the background color. Okay, I'm going to either ruin it or make it better. I don't know yet. We will see. I don't follow any ratio. I'm just feeling it, just to make it lighter, like a gray, silver gray, with a little shimmer from the silver color. I think it looks very nice. The color, we will see. Maybe I will then redo the rocket if it will not stand out from the background. And I picked the fabric paint because this is quite a large area to cover. I don't want it to be stiff, as we already discovered the biggest difference in terms of feel between acrylic paint and fabric paint, special fabric paint, that acrylic feels much stiffer, and I want this big area to stay quite flexible, so I will do it with fabric paint. I'm still going through that background that I invented for myself, but if you will be doing a background and you are going to do it from the very beginning, you know, I was hesitant. I didn't know if I'm going to do that. So I would suggest you first do the background and let it dry, and then maybe do the stars and all the little details within the second layer, because small things like stars can get lost over darker background. So on white background they were more visible, and I was not planning to add more of them, but on dark background you really feel like it's not enough stars, not enough this golden color popping, and I would definitely add more once that black shimmery background will dry. But for you, if you know there will be a background, you will probably have to either add small details completely as a second layer, or rework them once you're done with the background. Another good consideration about fabric paint that I'm seeing for now, working with this Montmartre fabric paint, is that it dries much slower than acrylic paint. So it's been, I think, approximately 30 minutes or even maybe more, me working on this background, and the paint I mixed here is still workable, still wet. With acrylic we would have to either add some slow drying medium, or we would have to mix a new batch. So that's another way to compare them, the drying time. All right, the background is somehow done. That was a lot of work, but it was worth it. I think it looks complete now, better now. But what I have to do is to go back with golden marker and adjust the stars. Firstly, I will adjust the Sharpie marker star because it's not golden enough. I don't like it. It's better now, and I will just correct all the other little stars in the sky. With markers it's easier to do that if I was using paint. So that is the convenience is definitely an advantage of acrylic based markers versus fabric paint. But I think there should be some sort of fabric markers, I guess. I think I'm pretty satisfied with what I've done so far. And I will let this part, as you can see, because I mixed black, white and silver, it is shimmering, so I think that is really cool for the like universe and galaxy sky. I will let it dry, and then we will come back to compare again how different layers dried in different tools, and then we will seal it and wash it. So now all colors are dry, and paint, the fabric paint, the sticks, the markers, everything is dry, and we can proceed to sealing it. And the easiest way to seal the paint, fabric paint, sticks, or anything on fabric is to get it with an iron. So what most brands recommend is to put a piece of cloth, cotton cloth, over your dried painting and iron it for minimum 3 minutes. Like normally they say 3 to 5 minutes, and you don't have to use any steam, and the temperature is about 100 degrees Celsius, so it's not too hot. The iron doesn't have to be too hot, and as I said, no steam. So let's see how this will be all set. And also some brands will not mention it for the paint. Some fabric paints, for example this the color that I used here, they mentioned that after you heat set your painting on fabric, you need to wait another 24 hours, at least 24 hours before you will wash it in a washer on a gentle cycle or hand wash it. So yeah, let's see. For 5 minutes, let's see what's happening underneath. As you can see, no matter what we used, it's not on the surface. I guess only the sticks, because for this planet I use the sticks, and they give a little bit of color on the fabric that I used to iron. So be careful and use something that you are not worried if something like this will happen. It's a black fabric, so you barely can see it, but if you will use like a white, something that you are planning to use, that can be a problem. But yes, there is no colors that were transferred during the 4 minutes that I was ironing, and now I will leave it for another day, and I can wash it finally. And this is the acrylics, markers, fabric paint, and sticks after the first washing cycle. It was a regular washing, and as you can see, the fabric paint and acrylic paints remain the same. The colors, the vibrancy of these colors, very nice. I'm very happy with it. Nothing cracked, peeled, or faded, and it's still the same feel to it. If it's a fabric paint like I used in the middle, the fabric stayed flexible, and as you remember, the acrylic paint makes the fabric stiffer a little bit, so it still remains the same. But this part where I tested not just fabric paint, which stayed very nice, but I also tested some markers and some acrylics, some paint sticks, I'm sorry. And as you can see, after the very first wash, the sticks, they just disappeared. This is just so disappointing. All the areas that I painted with the sticks, like the green colors, the blue, the orange, the red, I'm extraordinarily disappointed, because even on the instruction for the sticks, it says that you can wash them, they are permanent, but they are clearly not permanent. And markers are performing very nicely. Maybe they're just not the best color choices. I used metallics. They may be not the best choices on this black fabric paint. So this side of experiment, markers performed better than sticks, but overall I would still stick to either regular acrylic paint if you don't have fabric paint, or acrylic paint mixed with fabric medium, or straight special fabric paints that can be acrylic based or water based. And yeah, so this t-shirt is now made, done. A little bit disappointed by those sticks, but overall I think acrylic based products perform very, very nicely on cotton, on fabric. And I also tested on denim some markers and some paints, like Montmartre fabric paint and the color textile paint also performed nicely, but you need to understand that with the cotton it's easy to paint on it. It's white, it's like a very neutral background, but when you paint it on denim already has a little color to it. It can be dark blue, it can be light blue, it can be black, or any other colors that the denim was stained with. And if you're using fabric paint or acrylic paint that is by nature more transparent, for example the neon colors, yellows, some light greens, they will let the denim grain and the denim color pop. So for example here you can see if it's an opaque color, by default it covers nicely, but if it is a neon color, white color that is a little bit more transparent, you will see the texture and you will kind of see a little bit of the color of the fabric underneath. And this is not even a very dark denim. Overall, you are absolutely welcome to use acrylic, regular acrylic paint mixed with fabric medium, and special fabric paint, even of a craft student level like Montmartre, to paint on cotton, denim, and other fabrics.